As it must be said, though it hurts to say, there's a lot of different instances out here in today's time. A lot of people are making their own moves, making their own decisions, etc., etc. Now, you might be asking yourself questions. You might say, well, what choices do I have? I do hear that a lot. But what choice do I have? To survive in this world, some people have to make their way in a figure eight. And when they start talking about cover-ups in Hollywood, this is why I tell the majority of you to sign up to my Patreon so you don't get left behind, especially with information such as this. Well, when it comes to the game itself, the game of Hollywood, the game of what are you willing to do, there's always been cover-ups. And mostly it's been done on the international scene. See, when you start talking about the other side, nobody wants to hear it. Justin Timberlake was so far drunk during his arrest, he could barely stand. He was very belligerent, couldn't put words together to formulate a sentence. And what ended up happening because of the said incident? He ended up becoming a meme till his own downfall. Oh, you saw the Patrick Swayze video on Patreon? Appreciate that, man. Because there's so much going on that other people in avenues just don't know about Hollywood. Like the British newscaster, Drew Edwards. Drew Edwards, man, he has been on British BBC television forever. And most of us don't know Drew Edwards because we don't pay any attention to Drew Edwards. Drew Edwards is an older white man, but he's real known. He would be like Harvey Levin or one of these guys that you see every day. Now, Drew Edwards was caught after an investigation found out he had pictures and he was sending inappropriate pictures to children. Inappropriate photos to children. This is what Edwards was doing. Well, it was spreaded throughout the community that people knew exactly that this was going on. Said time. They covered it up for as long as they could. And now it's gotten to a point where they had to do something about it. The British version of Dancing with the Stars had this star, Graciano, basically in training 5 weeks into the show. He decided, I'm going to kick my dance partner. And then this woman claims she's got PTSD because he kicked her and all this different stuff. So, again, you're dealing with nuances that the general public just isn't privy to and isn't prepared for. I know, man. I was finna do a whole video on TK Carter, man. I was just talking about TK. I was just talking about TK Carter just a week ago. That's crazy. Because when Dave Chappelle video came out, his stand-up, that's when everyone started mentioning, when Dave says something, they go look it up. And all the stuff he was saying about how he got Saturday Night Live, the other comedian. And I was like, yeah, that was TK's job too. So that's how TK's name come up. But I'm gonna talk about TK later because I'm trying to get locked into the Bears game. So life moves 1,000 miles an hour. So when you start processing, this is like the letter of the law. And when you start seeing things not materialize the way it's supposed to, then there's a problem. There's a major problem somewhere. In Hollywood, you gotta understand what's going on in the equations. There's so many different cover-ups, you'll never know. QT, Tarantino, the cover-up of his verbal and vicious assaults, sexual harassments of cast members. But because they were extras or minor stars, you didn't hear about it. Love his movies, though. Now, but he was a very coked out director. And when he gets coked out, it turns into crazy time. That one actress had to go into rehab after hanging with those guys and was on a 24-hour coke binge. She almost OD'd. Well, you gotta kind of ask yourself the question. Is this where you want to be? Or is this where you wouldn't want to be? I know the answer for myself, but I can't speak for everybody. Take, for instance, you got great actors that you never would hear from again. I know you guys don't remember Jonathan Brandis. Jonathan Brandis was in Little Giants. Jonathan Brandis was he played Junior in the Little Giants. He played in Sidekicks. He was, I believe, Dolphin Quest or something. I don't know if he was in Free Willy. But Jonathan Brandis was the child star. And he started dating Tatiana Ali. They were a couple. That was like her first like Hollywood boyfriend, right? So now, after dealing with that her entire life, this guy dealt with depression because a producer had sexually harassed him, got him hooked on drugs, and he was attacked, and they covered it up. And for years, he was dealing with the pain of being used as a male sex toy as a kid. And he had to deal with that pain till he decided to take his own life. He couldn't deal with it no more. The actor that played Jet Jackson could not live down the adventures of Jet Jackson, could not live down what was happening to him at the Disney Channel. The rumors of assault, the whole nine was there. It was covered up by a Hollywood fixer. And all these threats to expose the star, who was a grown man doing a television show that he was thriving in away from his old management and representatives. He's now under new management, but the old management is willing to expose certain photos, certain evidence, and leak to the press about rumors about him being in a relationship with another man. All of this attention and stress that was put on the star that played Jet Jackson, he decided to take his own life. They cover up all the information. The video footage from the hotel night where Whitney Houston goes into her final entrance into the room. I already know Hollywood coming after me. But when Whitney went to do her thing, you know what they did? All the footage is gone. You have not seen one photo leak of anybody walking in that home. Where's Ray J? Where's the drug pusher guy? Where is he at? Where's all of these things? Where's Noggles? I don't believe they drowned her. I believe they gave her enough drugs to where she passed out and fell asleep in the tub and drowned. Yeah, she died in the hotel room. What's essential is what we know. And what we know in the situation and what we could prove or what we could see are always going to be two different things. So you always just want to be prepared and be on your best. Because Hollywood is strange. It's a very strange place. You've had Corey Feldman, who's now admitted, he just keep remixing stuff. You had Charlie Sheen allegedly making out with Corey Haim when he named him. But there were a lot of producers that they made assistant producers who were there to groom these young actors. And we just want to see them in the movies, but their sick, twisted ways was to pervert Hollywood. Malcolm Jamal Warner didn't get a movie role when he was trying to go to the big screen and make a motion picture in Hollywood. He was protected. First of all, his mother and father, they knew which producers to send him to, which studios to send him to, and they said, no, don't hire him. There was one film Malcolm Jamal Warner was going to read for a part, but he turned it down because the mom, she's in the industry, so she knew right away that guy was a predator. So when she knew that guy was a predator, the first thing she did was say, I'm out. Yeah, she took him out and wouldn't let him read for the part. Now, I forgot what the name of the movie was, but she didn't trust that director around her son. So Malcolm Jamal Warner didn't get any movie roles. So he stayed a lot in television, but he couldn't get any movie roles, and he didn't know why. Because that producer was really upset he didn't get Malcolm Jamal Warner. Now, Jake Gyllenhaal. Quite sure you've heard of Jake Gyllenhaal, right? Jake Gyllenhaal is one of the most popular names in the industry. Did you know that he was supposed to be in the Mighty Ducks? He was hired. Being child actors, him and his sister, Maggie Gyllenhaal, they normally didn't read for the same parts, like in the same movie. They normally got different things. Their mothers would represent them. And while he was young, he got the role for the Mighty Ducks. And right before it was time for him to start. It was like, okay, we got it. We're going to start. She was like, oh, no. Snatched him out of the film. And it was like, why did the parents snatch him out of Mighty Ducks? They snatched him out of the Mighty Ducks because they said, oh, well, it's your schooling. We want to make sure. He was upset and livid. He was going to be in this motion picture and you snatched him out. But the truth of the matter is, one of the producers that's a friend of the Estevez family is a doggone predator. And they don't want him on the Disney set. And he had a strange relationship with a 15-year-old girl who used to be an actress on Charles in Charge. Which takes us to Scott Baio, who played Charles in Charge. He was dating the girl he's supposed to be babysitting. And she wasn't an adult at the time. She was 16 years old. Hollywood covered all this up for years, saying that she kept changing her story to try to shame Scott Baio. So Scott had to make a video just a couple years ago to say, this is some bull stuff. We messed around one time, like when she was an adult. It wasn't when I first got on the show. So all of this stuff was entirely inappropriate and shouldn't have happened, but they kept covering it up. And as long as they kept covering it up, that's all people cared about. Keep covering it up. So the guy, the little kid that played Michael Jackson in the little video version of Bad, he was in The Sandlot, and you kept seeing him in all these movies, named Brandon. I don't know his last name, but he played Fool in People Under the Stairs. Come on, fool. He was in Smooth Criminal video. He was everywhere. But Brandon left the spotlight after being sexually abused. He fell to a life of getting high, doing drugs, rolling with the wrong crowd. He dated Brandy, and he wasn't in the right state of mind. Got Brandy all messed up, and she swore by the guy. He ended up on Moesha's show because that's what Brandy do. Any guy she dates, she put him on Moesha, and real fights about to break out. It was a terrible time. So, to get these roles, Brandon was taken advantage of in Hollywood. So, him and Brandy eventually broke up because he was destructive to her career. But she thought she was in love. She wasn't. I mean, it wasn't love. It was just insanity. And Brandy started having these breakout fits. And they were thinking he was putting Brandy on drugs and giving Brandy pills and stuff. And his mind was out there, and he started hanging out with his best buddy and crazy person himself, Merlin Santana, who you all know from Steve Harvey show. So they were side by side sidekicks. And when they escaped this crazy woman that set them up, and Merlin got shot in the back of the head. Brandon was driving. Now, they say this incident changed Brandon, and he changed his life and got away from drugs and all the crazy stuff after that happened, after the loss. But I haven't seen or heard from Brandon since. So, whatever he's doing, hopefully he's fixed his life. And he can deal with other past, abuse and stuff he went through. Hopefully he can get through it. Hollywood covered a lot of stuff up, buddy. They covered a lot of stuff. Oh, Nia Long, violent. Nia Long, no, it won't take long when Nia Long kicked you in the face. She was just not the good girlfriend that everybody think they wanted. Yeah. So when you start talking about things are getting bad or things are bad, that's normally how they play out. Well, you kind of want to put yourself in a winning situation. If you're not in a winning situation, well, you might be in a losing one. Oh, they've all been blackmailing because, see, these agencies, they know everything about you. Oh, there was a former friend that was going to expose nude photos of because he used to date her when they were like in high school. She was smoking weed. Then she ended up going to Hollywood and started having a career. I can't remember her name. She used to work on the soap opera show, like All My Children. She was one of the young actresses on the show, and they were going to expose her and show her nudes, show her smoking reefer and joints and weed, all that stuff, and mess up her career. So they were threatening her, and she wasn't making a lot of money. Like they don't know about Hollywood. They like, you on TV, you making millions of dollars, and she wasn't. She's like, I'm not a regular. I don't have a contract like that. I'm just make enough to pay my rent. Like, I don't have that kind of money. Why are you trying to destroy me? So the guy said, okay, well, and she was like, I don't know what to do. So she told her agency that what was happening, and they took care of it. They said, okay, we'll handle it. We'll make sure this guy don't do this ever again, especially to you. So they was like, thank you. And next thing you know, the guy got the worst beat down in the history of existence. And they gave him $1,000 and wanted all the photos, everything. See, what they did was send over a Ray Donovan type, which is called a fixer. And he fixes these situations. And that's exactly what he did. He fixed it. There was no problems after that. Oh, it was fixed. Well, you gotta know, there's one or two things you should know about the situations. And Oh yeah, I'm getting to the Bears house now. Cause it's crazy. Look how packed it is here. 2 parking lots completely full. We never lose when I come here. Never. So anyway, I'll let y'all know the rest later on. It's time for